We're getting really close to that summer Game Fest period, with games like Jedi Survivor already being announced and looking very promising. We of course discussed it many times here in these big Sunday videos, so cool to finally see it. And now in this episode we're gonna look ahead at this coming week and beyond, because we get way more reveals during a new State of Play that was just announced for June 2nd. Sure, State of Plays are usually hit or miss, but I got some theories and we got some rumors as to why it might be different this time. Like, we might see a new Killzone, which kinda wild to think about. Plus we got more leaks for things that seem to be dropping. Just a ton to go over. Of course, if you like these big Sunday videos, then leaving a like would really show you support. And subscribe, because every Sunday I post a big rumor and news roundup video like this. Okay, let's immediately start with this Killzone VR game. The leak comes from Without Parole, a trustworthy PSVR YouTuber, because in August 2021, so almost half a year before the new headset was officially announced, he already leaked all the details, which turned out to be true. So now he notes that he learned about an in-development Killzone VR game that started at Supermassive Games. They of course did Until Dawn for PS4, but after that Until Dawn Rush of Blood, which was a VR spin-off, and they also did the VR shooter Bravo Team. Now turns out that they were also working on a Killzone VR game, but Sony wasn't happy with the progress in 2019, so they pulled it and brought it in-house, and it should now be in development for PSVR 2. I really enjoyed the Killzone series, especially the multiplayer in Killzone 2, but in the super crowded shooter space right now, I just don't see a spot for it, although making a VR game, which obviously also less of an investment, could totally be the way forward for the series. But yeah, who's making it? I don't see Guerrilla step away from the Horizon universe anytime soon. And maybe you saw our big recent video where we went in depth on all the PlayStation studios and what they're likely working on. I will link to it at the end of this one for if you haven't watched it yet. But there we did not notice a hint or like a job posting that could revert to a Killzone VR game. So I still hope it's true, and that would of course be a huge announcement at that upcoming State of Play. They note in their blog post that we will have some exciting reveals from our third-party partners, plus a sneak peek at several games in development for PlayStation VR 2. And we learned during a big Sony presentation this week that there are 20 plus major first and third party titles confirmed for PSVR 2 at launch. I would love to see more of the Horizon VR game shown here as well. A new Astrobot would of course be cool, and it's totally in the cards, I think. Maybe first a playroom type game. Now this is interesting. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 got announced for an October 28, 2022 release date this week, but it also seems to have PSVR support. So maybe they already show that here, while the official reveal for the game will be on June 8th. Would be awesome if we got a confirmation that Half-Life Alyx is a PSVR 2 launch game, and I would also love to see some surprises. Although Killzone would of course totally be one of them. And even though I'm totally very interested in PSVR 2, I know the third-party reveals are of course what most people care about, and maybe you watching of course as well. So let's go over that now. I think it's interesting that they note that it's nearly 30 minutes, while the previous two State of Plays were a little over 20 minutes. So it's already bigger than what we got before. But yeah, Shuei Yoshida points out on Twitter that we should read carefully. And with them only noting third party and PSVR 2 games, it means that we should not expect God of War Ragnarok to show up here out of nowhere with a release date and a cool trailer or something. Although a release in 2022 seems more likely after it was of course rated in Korea, which usually means a launch is like a few months away. And merchandise suddenly also popped up, as found by Marmalade, with a very curious September 30th 2022 date. And these listings have now been removed, by the way, but this is the same date that the backend of the PlayStation Store had a while back. Like, imagine this game dropping in September, that would be huge. But we will likely not see it during the State of Play. Now the highlights will very likely be Final Fantasy 16. I mean, last September we heard that the trailer would be dropping in spring 2022, and yes, I checked. Spring is still June 21st, so time is running out. It's of course a PS5 exclusive, and we've seen many Final Fantasy titles in State of Plays over the years. Final Fantasy VII Remake resurfaced once at the end of the May 2019 State of Play, and last year we heard about the Final Fantasy VII Integrate PS5 version, also for the first time at a State of Play. So yes, I would be shocked if it wasn't here. and maybe we also get a 2022 date. Like, there is actually a rumor right now that Forspoken might get delayed out of the October window, and that Final Fantasy 16 might then launch on October 11th instead. Like, I overall don't think that it's smart to have both open world JRPGs close to each other, and if Forspoken could use the extra polish, then why not move it to January, which also a quieter time. Final Fantasy 16 should at least be close to completion, so we will have to wait and see. Now, if I could pick one game though, I would love to see Avatar Frontiers of Pandora here, as Sony has been pushing it as one of their marketing deals in also many recent presentations. Here we also see Final Fantasy 16, Forspoken, Hogwarts Legacy, that this week got a special PS5 features trailer. But yeah, we haven't seen the Avatar PlayStation marketing yet, so maybe we see it here. Now, the other big game that is rumored to be here is Street Fighter 6. We got the teaser trailer already at the end of the Capcom Pro Tour in February, so maybe we get the first gameplay here. Although we know that Capcom has multiple major titles by March 2023, as we also discussed in a previous Sunday video. And this week they opened a special 10th year anniversary site for Dragon's Dogma, with a blog post saying that we hope you join us in the celebration of a decade of endless adventures with Dragon's Dogma as we look to the future. I really want to give this game another shot, but it seems that it's still locked at 30 FPS, even if you play on like PS5 or Xbox Series, but correct me if I'm wrong in the comments down below. Dragon's Dogma 2 will of course be focused on the next-gen platforms, I would hope, and we know that it has been leaked countless of times, so it's really happening, maybe at this state of play, or otherwise it's gonna be a little later. Now, of course, Resident Evil remakes have also been at state of plays as well. Resident Evil 3 remake was actually announced at a state of play, but let's take a step back and let's not get too crazy here. Resident Evil 4 remake would of course be wild, but let's set our expectations right. It's probably going to be Final Fantasy 16 or Street Fighter 6 as like the big third-party games. Like, usually we do not get a lot of big hitters at the state of plays. This is the highlight video from July 2021. With really nothing noteworthy. Still, it is in the more like E3 period now, and Sony would look kinda stupid next to Microsoft's big show if they did not at least have a few interesting titles. Stray, the cat game, seems like a safe bet though, as the PlayStation database recently got updated with a July 19th date, and I really liked what I saw in the most recent gameplay demo they dropped. So we will be live reacting on YouTube to the state of play. Hope you join us on June 2nd. And I will also drop a countdown timer to the event in the pinned comment. We could also see the new Destroy All Human game here. The Microsoft Store ruined the surprise and leaked this multiplayer title called Clone Carnage. This standalone DLC comes with 4 modes, 6 maps, and up to 4-player multiplayer, according to the description. And we got some leaked screenshots as well. It should have a 2-player split-screen co-op. Now, the leak did note a May 31st release date, so maybe they just shadow drop it, or we see it at one of the shows. And remember Marvel Midnight Suns, the XCOM Marvel game? We actually got a new report that a re-reveal is slated for this June during Summer Game Fest as well. Like, I think the game could be awesome, but I also think that a lot is riding on this new footage to get more people interested, because right now, people are not sold yet, which I do understand, looking at the sort of card-based combat system. I have a pretty good sense of what's coming in the next month, and I think people will be hyped about games in general. Says Jeff Keighley, the host, of course, of Summer Game Fest on June 9th. We will be live reacting to that as well. I'm getting low-key excited. He also notes that there will be 15 plus guests, which is quite a lot, so I think it will be a big show. There will at least be a few announcements, I think, that are worth it. I'm still holding my fingers crossed for something about Horizon DLC. A lot of people are like, what is Sony going to do for the rest of the year? Lost Us Remake, will God of War make it? And I'm like, it's pretty obvious that Horizon Forbidden West is getting some sort of expansion, right? So I hope they unveil it this June. That would be awesome. I'm also getting more convinced about Bioshock, the new game, that it will be revealed very soon. Not only because it has been in development for quite some time, the GeForce Now leak headed for Bioshock 2022. I do think that it will launch in 2023 at the earliest now, though. It has likely been delayed a bit. But also right now, at the time of this recording, you can go to the Epic Games Store and claim the full Bioshock collection for free. And that really reminds me of what 2K did with Tiny Tina, where they gave away the Borderlands 2 DLC with Tiny Tina to everyone as well, to kind of get people interested in Wonderlands. And maybe they want people like in the Bioshock universe now again, on PC for free. And then they unveil the new Bioshock game, whatever it will be called, and more people will be hyped. I think that's what's going on here. We will have to wait and see. I overall hope that because there are less events now, we will only be live reacting to 3 during this sort of E3 period. The State of Play, the Summer Game Fest, and the Microsoft Bethesda show on June 12th. That other games that would normally be at like a Square Enix show, Take-Two had something last year, like that all those titles are now going to these big boys and that the big events are really going to be big this year. I hope that that is the case. No word on what Ubisoft is going to do. Maybe they will just like save some things for their own event later in the summer. Or maybe have Skull and Bones at Microsoft, Avatar at the State of Play, and then Mario and Rabbids at the Nintendo thing if Nintendo is going to show up with anything. Could also be the case. We'll keep you posted here. Of course, subscribe to be up to date on these big Sunday videos where I go in depth on the rumors and the latest news. And totally check out my previous video. We worked really hard on it about what the big PlayStation studios are currently working on. A lot of interesting projects are in development. You can watch that by clicking on the screen. A like on this video would of course really help me out. Hope to see you at the live react. We of course got a ton of other content coming your way throughout the week as well. So I will speak to you soon. Goodbye.